What in the world happened to all the African American subcontractors? Let's get into it, guys. All right, guys, how you doing today? This is Emmett Callworth. I'm the Alpha Builder, and there was something that inspired this right here video that I'm doing right now. And actually, guys, you can kind of see I kind of changed my background a little bit, trying to emulate some of the people that I kind of watch on YouTube a little bit. So this is just an experiment. I'm gonna see how this look. But I was I was out, and I was just trying to wonder what in the world is going on. You know, I go out here, guys. I have, let me see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Every time I build a house, and me as a general contractor, home builder, every time I build a home, I probably have about 50 different subcontractors and suppliers that come on my site. And out of those 50 subcontractors and suppliers that come on my site to do work for me, I say about, gosh, man. Right now, guys, I only have one subcontractor. He just happens to be my landscaper. He's really good at what he does. I mean, he's a really good guy. He works on perfecting what he does. And through the years, guys, I might have had about 7 subcontractors who were African American. And that's it. You know, over probably maybe 300 plus contractors I've dealt with, subcontractors I've dealt with, and suppliers. You know, and this is not good, guys. And I'm not trying to sit here and I'm not trying to bash my people. It's just that I don't see us out there anymore. As a matter of fact, at one point in time, I did a video and I put it in the description box. You know, that's what we actually did. We were the ones who actually did all the sub trades and the you know, we did it all prior to 1932. But today, we're just non-existent almost. And what inspired this video is, and I tell you what, maybe I get to it and I'll let you know what inspired this video. When I get to a couple of my points. We got a few points right here that I'm looking at. Some of the things I think it could be. You guys let me know what you think. But these are some of the things that I see out there in the field. And I think that these things are affecting us from being subcontractors or even contractors like myself. The first one I want to look at, and me and my daughter, we kind of went through these right here and we kind of talked about it. She kind of helped me out with it. But I guess the first one I want to start off with is being complacent as a people. You know, and guys, I'm from Evergreen, Alabama. When I say complacent, if you don't know better, or you don't see better for yourself, how do you know that you can have better? You know, if you've been raised up, guys, I grew up in a mobile home. My childhood house, it burned down, and then my mom and I, we moved into and brother and sister, we moved into a mobile home. So, you know, if I had stayed in Evergreen, I didn't know anything where I'm from, I would have been content with just, hey man, I could just be in a mobile home. Or, hey, if I just have a smaller house that's the size of, you know, a little bit bigger than a mobile home, then, you know, I'm good. So if you don't see better, if you grew up in a situation where you don't see better, you don't know better. So if you raised up in the inner city, sometimes you might be raised up in such conditions that you hadn't seen these big monstrous houses, these big mansions and stuff like that you see over on the other side of the railroad track. You don't see those houses. So when you don't see that, you don't know that you can have that. You know, I think here in Birmingham we got a very wealthy area code called Mountain Brook. So, you know, if you live in the inner city Birmingham and you never ever traveled to Mountain Brook or actually seen what's going on over in Mountain Brook and how these people living, and see that you could probably have that. There's no need for you to work hard and go out here and learn a trade and understand that you can go out there and get that. As a matter of fact, some of them same people that's probably over in the Mountain Brook area, they got their wealth from doing trades. So that's one thing. Another thing, and I didn't have this on my sheet right here, is they took it out of the schools. Back when I was in school, talk about back when I was in school, we had trades in the schools. Well, at some point in time, and especially in the African American culture, we got to the point where, you just wasn't considered to be knowledgeable, man, unless you had some kind of degree, PhD, and you had all these degrees and things like that. So, maybe about 20 to 30 years ago, they started trying to make sure that all the African American kids go to college, because there was this thing that I remember this article they put out and said that people with college degrees, they make more money. They make like double the amount that a person who don't have a college degree make. And they put that out there. And the school systems embrace that. Especially inner city schools. We saw, we moved away from trades, and then we moved to trying to send all our kids to college. I mean, even if you look at the curriculum today, guys, back when I was in school, you took basic math 1, basic math 2, and you might have took algebra as a senior, but you knew enough algebra to just do the basics. Well, because they're trying to send everybody to college, they're making these kids take geometry in the 9th grade. And just, what if you got a kid that just don't get it? Well, they forcing this stuff on them. They forcing them to go to college. And so that's what happened, guys. So you don't have a lot of African-American guys, especially in the inner cities. The inner city schools now are realizing, hey, they having to pivot now because they seeing that, hey, these guys over here that was doing trades, they actually make good money. And you start looking at these plumbers and mechanical guys and electricians. You're looking and seeing, we're seeing these guys actually making really good money with a trade. And so that's starting to change, but they actually took that out of our curriculum, guys. And especially in the inner city, the African American, they took it out. There's another item. Let me just put that down. Make sure I write these down as I go. The next one I have on my agenda is going to be there are no legacies. We don't have any legacies. That's number 3. When I say legacy, we don't have fathers in the household that actually done these trades that can teach it to their son and then say, hey, son, you get in here and you do this trade right here, and I'm going to show you how to make this money. And you can be an entrepreneur and you can do your own thing. And I'll be honest with you guys, even when I went to college, man, we just, I was in awe when I saw those guys get their degrees and they went and worked for some corporation and they was, walking around, getting their coffee every morning and sitting up at the, cubicle or whatever it was they had. And I was like, man, I just want to be like that. They had these good jobs, buying, you get you a decent job and you go ahead and buy you a vehicle and they were just doing good. But I'm realizing now, man, these, with the way a lot of these corporations operate, they don't care nothing about you. And once they get what they can get at you, or in the event that something happens to you, Lord forbid if you die, they'll be hurt for maybe 2 weeks. And, after 2 weeks, they'll replace you and keep going. You can look at something like, Nick Saban, man, was one of the, if not probably the greatest coach I've ever seen. They replaced him in 2 hours. They had another coach waiting 2 hours after he announced that he would retire. Had the other coach. This is telling you guys. I mean, look, guys. You got to be focused on yourself in today's time. You got to be. It's got to be about you. So if you don't have legacies, guys, I mean, that's where it's at. We didn't have legacies. I'm sorry. The new generation guys, they don't have legacies because all the fathers, they went out and got jobs. So there are no legacy subcontractors anymore. Every once in a while, like I said, every once in a while you may find one or two of them, but they're just not out there anymore. They're not dads out there teaching their son. Plus, guys, when you look at when you look in the African American community, 75% of African Americans are born out of wedlock. So they don't have fathers in the household, period. Almost. And guys, don't get mad at me because I put that number out there. You can go research it and look it up on, you can look it up on Google and you'll see that 75% of our kids are born out of wedlock in the African American community. We don't have fathers anymore. So that's another thing, which, in most cases, what's happening now, since you don't have the legacies there. So now all of us, all the African American guys got to go out there. They got to go get a job. So now they get a job and then they try to side hustle back into the trades. So they have a job and then they try to do their, they try to do their trade as a side hustle. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, that just don't work. And this is what that one thing, that side hustle thing is what kind of triggered this video right here. Because I was dealing with a subcontractor who wanted to come do some work for me. And he didn't, I can tell that this kind of side hustle for him because he didn't have general liability insurance. And guys, I want to be honest with you, as a contractor, as a general contractor, or a home builder is what we are. It's not to my benefit to hire you as, let's say, for instance, you're an electrician and you're doing this on the hustle, or this is a side hustle for you. You're doing it on the side. And you don't have your insurance. You don't have you don't have all your credentials and things like that in order so that you're ready to actually operate. That's another thing that I see that we don't do. We don't have our credentials. We don't have our licenses. We don't have our insurances. I mean, you just think about it. And general liability insurance. So if you go out there as an electrician and you didn't wire something correctly and the house burned down, well, you don't have any insurance to cover that. So that's got to come out of my general liability insurance as a contractor. Makes no sense. This is how we operate out here. And I mean, that's one thing that really kind of knock us out too a lot of times, especially with some of these bids with the city and stuff like that. We don't have our administrative items in place. We don't have our business. We're not taking care of our business. This is destroying us. So that's another thing, guys. So school's not teaching. I got that one. And I'll tell you something else too. Here's another item. Let's put this item on here. There's a concept, and I'm kind of going somewhere with this right here. There's a concept called Brifault law. I think it's spelled BRIFFAULT. Brifault law. And that law says that the law says that women determines the mating strategies in their community. So it's the women that determines how the men are going to be, or what the men are going to want to do, or what the men are going to do based on what they like and what they don't like. That's the mating strategy. So if all the women in the African American community are attracted to rappers and drug dealers and that lifestyle, well, guess what's going to happen? All the boys are they're gonna aspire to be rappers and drug dealers? Are they even gonna look like that? This is what they're gonna wear their hair like the rappers. This is what they're gonna aspire to. So it's the women, because of that's what they like, that's what the guys are gonna try to accomplish for them. It's the same way, guys, if every young lady today said, hey, you know something? We're not gonna deal with any guys who, it doesn't matter, who have their pants hanging down. So if their pants is hanging down, we're not gonna even talk to them. And every lady was on board. Every young lady, old lady, everybody was on board and said, we're not gonna even deal with them. That's not what we like. All the guys within probably a week, man, would start pulling their pants up. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So I don't think, and this is just what I see. And I was talking to my daughter about this right here, but I don't think, and she agreed with me, I don't think that African American women value blue collar work. You got a guy out here that's a plumber. You got a guy out here that's, I don't know, man. He may be into, he's a mechanic. Make good money. I don't think our women value, in the African American community, the women don't value that. And because the women don't value that in their men, the guys don't see any value in it either. So they're going to have a lack of interest to go into the trades. Their interest is going to be rapping, athletes. They're going to be trying to play basketball, dunk a ball, run a football. You know, this is what our guys are going to be trying to do. So we got to, you know, it's got to start in the community, man. That, you know, our community have got to start seeing. I mean, we starting to try to see it. So we have to start seeing the value in the trades, which is why I'm on here right now, guys. I see it because I write the checks to the subcontractors. I know what they make. And, you know, so that was another thing. So it's not, so I would say that it's not really part of our culture anymore. Trades used to be part of the culture. Well, if you go in the Hispanic community, the trade is part of their culture. The women embrace it. So the men are going to embrace it. Here's another one. You know, I think one damaging mindset that we have is we're always trying to get our money quick. You know, look, guys, in anything you do, it doesn't matter what you do. Trades, maybe not sports. If you're born with athletic, and which is probably 2% of the population, if you're born with an athletic skill, then yeah, but that's an exception to the rule, to the norm. But for the most part, anything you do, especially a man, it's no shortcuts. It's no shortcuts, buddy. You got to work this thing until the end. It takes time. I mean, it takes time to master your trade, guys. And here's the thing, you can't be in it for the money. I mean, you know, for the most part. You need to be doing something that actually you can monetize it, but money is going to be a byproduct. Money is a byproduct of you mastering what it is that you can do well. That's when you're going to get your money. If you love to do what you do, and here's the thing, guys, the thing you got to really think about is, am I adding value to someone else's life? Do I have a solution? Do I have the solution to a problem that we have out here in the world that I can come in and be the solution for that problem? And if you do, guys, the money will come. People are going to start recognizing that you are sincere about what you do and you're trying to be the best. and you're passionate about what you're doing. And when you have that in mind, the money's gonna come. Money is a byproduct. So it's gonna take time, guys. It's not gonna, especially in a trade, guys, it's gonna take time. I'm talking about years. I'm not talking about no two. Guys, I've been doing this over 20 years and I haven't even hit the plateau. And I may not ever see it, which is why I try to teach it to my son. And hopefully my son will grab the torch and he'll take it to the next level. He'll take the mindset that you have with his generation and he'll add a little bit more spice to it, man, and he can take this thing to the next level. But me being a legacy for him, some of the big mistakes that I've made, I can keep him from making those mistakes. Now, he's going to make some mistakes. Guys, the way you grow is you make mistakes. So don't ever think it's a bad idea to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. But he don't need to make the mistakes that's going to take him out the game. I made the mistakes that took me out the game for 5, 6, 7 years. Because when you get out that game, see, the name of the game is to stay in the game. In this market right here, you got to stay in the game. If you stay in the game, for the long haul, you'll make your money because the cycle goes up and down. You may go down, but you just got to stay in the game. You may catch that thing when it's up, and then you can really impact the system at that particular time, guys. But we don't, the legacy guys. I mean, I don't know what's happening with that. So we gotta stop thinking about we're trying to get money quick. That's one thing. We got to get that out of our mind, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Every time I hate to say it, guys. Most of the time when I talk to, African American, if they show up on my site, I'm not saying this happens all the time because one of the subcontractors that I have, he's great. But when you show up on my site, man, I'm not talking about the brotherhood and stuff like that. I have what it is on my mind that I'm trying to get done, and I need to get it done. So if you're showing up with a different mindset and you're not, and you're trying to get your money real quick and stuff like that, then we're going to headbutt on that site. So guys, this is the long haul, man. Everything you do, it's going to take time. It's going to take time, years of perfection to get that thing right. Here's another thing, guys, that I thought about this one right here too. Here's what I learned about. Right now, I've noticed that, and when I talk to brothers, I noticed that in the African American community, we're more focused on working for wages instead of a product. There's a difference between the two. See, when you're working for a product, what you produce is your product. And if you know that the only way I can get more money is to produce a good and great product that's superior to somebody else's product, you're going to put a lot of passion into that because this is how you eat. But now, if you're working for wages, you're just working by the hour and you're getting paid by the hour. You can go to the back, take breaks and stuff like that. You don't have to be efficient. Especially guys, you see a lot of this right here in government bodies. You go to the municipalities or DMV, places where they hire you and they just kind of quit monitoring you, making sure you give good customer service. The customer service is horrible. They don't care. They're working for wages. They're not efficient. And I see a lot of that happening too. So we would rather work for wages because it doesn't take a lot of effort than working for the product that I produce. It's a big difference in the two, guys. So I've just been noticing those things, guys. We got to get better. I tell you what, man, I got triggered real bad when that guy, you know, that guy just, and then I think that the last thing he said was, hey, I can go get my electrical insurance. Well, that's not going to help me out either. Because even if you go get your go get your insurance, if you didn't have it on the front end, that's just telling me you just doing that to just get this little quick money and keep going. That should be the most important thing that you do, is make sure you have your insurance and all your business items in order. That tells me how savvy you are as a subcontractor. So guys, let me know what you guys think, man. I got a little triggered, guys, and I'm out here looking at the trade industry, and there are not a lot of us in this game. We got to figure something out. There's some good money to be made in this game if you wanna do it. But y'all, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button so they can notify you next time I do another YouTube video. Thanks.